Residents of Melbourne, we all know, $200 fine if we leave the house without a mask. Evidence showing that masks apparently make a real difference. Scientists in the United States now believe masks can reduce the transmission of coronavirus.
I think if we could get everybody to wear a mask right now, I really do think over the next 4, 6, 8 weeks, we could bring this epidemic under control.
Let's bring you my panel. Melbourne City Councillor Nick Rees and Sky News Outsiders co-host and Herald Sun columnist Rita Panahi, both from Melbourne. I hope you've got your masks ready, team.
Not yet.
I've got to start with you, Rita. Look, mask wearing is highly political in the United States. Highly political, highly partisan. I have actually been wearing a mask off and on for the last couple of weeks in Victoria as those numbers started to climb. I don't wear them because I'm necessarily worried about myself. My greatest fear would be that I have it as an asymptomatic carrier. And if I'm at the supermarket and I'm standing next to an elderly person, I couldn't forgive myself if I somehow infected them. So I wear it for that purpose. But let's hope we don't get to that situation in Victoria where people won't wear them because it's some sort of political statement.
Look, I don't think there's that much politics in it. I think there's a lot of confusion because it wasn't that long ago that we were told that if you're not sick, don't wear a mask because, one, it's taking resources away from those who need it, and two, there were experts, including the WHO, saying that you can actually increase your risk of transmission if you're constantly touching your face and your eyes, so there was just very much mixed advice from the experts. Now we're being told masks are good. I've always thought that they would work because you look at the Asian countries where they've handled this crisis the best, places like Taiwan, they wear masks. It's very widespread there. That really isn't an issue. So I've always wondered whether that is behind one of the aspects of their success is the widespread wearing of masks. So for me, it's not a political issue, but I think it's, again, ham-fisted. You know, a few weeks ago, masks were unnecessary. People were actually being admonished for wearing them if they're not sick. And now we're told, even if you're outdoors, even if you're in a park by yourself, you should wear a mask. So I think, again, those mixed messages and sometimes the illogical messages are damaging.
Rita's right. You know, we talked about masks way back in February and March, Nick. We haven't got a straight answer on many of these, these basic questions and restriction detail all the way through this pandemic. It is frustrating on masks, surely.
Yeah, look, I agree with Rita that there has been some ambiguity around, firstly, the evidence and then, secondly, the directions from government about the wearing of masks. But look, that has moved significantly in recent weeks and very much firmed up. So look, the first significant development was that the Lancet, which is the world's probably leading medical journal, did a meta-analysis of all the studies that have been done of mask wearing and came to the conclusion that it was beneficial as a preventative measure against the spread of COVID-19 and useful in fighting the pandemic. And then the second thing that's happened is the state government has now stepped up its messaging. I suspect that's also been helped by the fact that supplies of masks have now arrived in Australia in large numbers, so they can give population-wide directives on that sort of thing. So the evidence is in, masks work, and government accordingly is stepping up its message, asking people to wear masks. I agree there is some ambiguity around these things. It's really hard to make black and white laws and these things. But
it's so
at the end of the day, we just need to exercise a bit of common sense and sort of realise we're all in this together. And I think
but
that's
the common sense
approach people should take.
Well, the common sense has got to start with the government. The common sense has got to start with the government. I mean, it has been so inconsistent. Victoria, out of all of the states in particular, so inconsistent on this advice all the way through. It's been a great frustration. I'd say to people, don't buy them either. Go to Spotlight like I did, Spotlight online. You can order your fabric and there's a free pattern. You can make it yourself for like half the money and wash it. Rita, I've got to go to another issue. We talked at the start of this crisis about the number of illegal drugs, the volume of drugs would be greatly reduced coming into Australia. We know obviously the drug mules and all the chemicals required to make some of the drugs will be hampered. I didn't even think about this at the time, but spot on. You know, the AFP are worried that all the unemployed or stood down aviation staff, they've got security cards, they've got inside information as to how the airports work. They are worried that some of these workers will be easy picking for gangs and crime syndicates.
Well, I think they will be. They're susceptible. They're under great financial stress. Their hours have been cut. So if you're going to strike, this is the time. And as we know, crime groups have had to adapt in the age of coronavirus as well. And this will be probably one of the strategies they use to stay in business.
Hey, Nick, New South Wales Labor too, members could be granted an amnesty from expulsion and suspension if they fess up about branch stacking. What's this about?
Look, there has been some evidence of some irregularities in some Western suburb branches there. And look, I guess the head office has come up with a tailored response there, offering up this amnesty for people to come forward with evidence of branch stacking going on. Look, it's a different response to what happened in Victoria recently, but look, it's a different set of circumstances as well. So, look, I think it's probably a response tailored to the particular conditions there in the Western suburbs. And look, obviously, New South Wales branch is taking this very seriously, and so they should. Former Queensland Party Secretary has been called in, and the party's powerful admin committee is really seems to be getting serious about this issue, which is good.
Just a quick one from you, Rita. That almost sounds like a filibuster to me.
I just love how Nicholas underplays it all. Oh, just some irregularities, just nothing. I mean, it's not like Labor has a history of branch stacking issues. It's not like it's a systematic cultural problem within the party. No, it's just a minor sort of numbers issue.
I don't think it's anything suggesting it was a scale of Malcolm Turnbull's branch stacking, of course, in Wentworth. No one's suggesting it's that big.
All Victoria, Nick, your old branch that you used to run is in now administration, but, you know, we'll leave it there. Nick Rees, Rita Panahi, thank you very much for your time. Hey, look, before I go, remember I spoke with Captain Tom Moore back in April? Well, he's the guy that raised 60 million Australian dollars for the NHS. Over the weekend, he's now the wonderful Captain Sir Tom Moore, knighted by Her Majesty just after she went to the wedding of her granddaughter Beatrice. Now, she wore the Queen's tiara. I think we've got a picture of that. But more importantly, I think it's fabulous to point out she wore one of the Queen's own gowns. So I think she's got a real sensitivity to the times that Britain is in at the moment, unlike her dad and unlike her mother, I suspect. There you go. She's more of a grandmother than her parents.